The reason I wanted to talk to you today was basically to kind of find out a bit more about where Audi's going with autonomous driving. I recently spent a couple of days with the A7 with adaptive cruise control. I had to go to drive from DC to Columbus, back again, and it made the drive absolutely painless.
Today we have, let's say, all the cutting-edge technologies of a level 2 system. I was just skipping through the menu to show you what is coming out in the barely new Q7 right now. As you see here, we call it traffic jam. It's assist, not a pilot. And for us, the differentiation, as soon as we call it pilot, it's a level 3 system, so it's autonomous system. I think we need to understand that because it's many other functionalities outside from competitors so far. They call it pilot, autopilot, but it's still cruise control and lane keeping system.
It was pretty misleading.
And it's misleading, and you need to understand. So that's why we still call it assist. And as soon as it recognizes it, it offers you, it will give you a different HMI in the dashboard. And then you'll have a combined cruise control and lane keeping system from 0 to 65. And let's say in the very low speed, you can take your hands a little bit longer off the steering wheel, but not because we want that, because it takes longer to have a safe recognition about that. Sometimes you're in a traffic jam and you look a little bit outside of the window and the car is guiding you, it's making sure that you're still in that line. The second thing that we're bringing in the US, it's the adaptive cruise control, of course, is something that we have in serious production so far. And the predictive control is the first generation where you combine actually the information of maps and speeds that you have in maps or in signs with the adaptive cruise control. But what we did in these maps is we made a layer where we extract the curvature of curves. In that layer we also have information about roundabouts, about crossings. So every geometrical information we extracted, and we adapt the speed of the cruise control to that. So something that you have to do today, you're getting to the entrance of a city, or you're getting to a curve, you have to pull down the speed. You don't have to do it anymore, the car will do it for you.
Right.
We have today on board, we have a whole sensor cluster. So we have behind that mirror, we call it a 3D camera. 2 long-range radars, you see it in the front. Some people think it's headlights, but it's not. It's 2 long-range radar. They can see up to 250 meters. Ultrasonic sensors around the car. We have top view cameras, and to the back we have also mid-range radars for the blind spot detection.
The thing I was wondering about was if you have a car in front of you and you're turning, or you're going into a turn, and the car, if the sensor's seeing straight ahead, it could think that you're heading for collision, but obviously you're both turning, so that's not an issue. So how do you have to discriminate by that? Is that all?
It's a very good question, because so far in the industry and also at Audi, we sensed curves by analyzing the lines. And that's something that we implemented here already in our traffic jam assist. The traffic jam assist would not work in an urban environment, for instance, if you just try to follow the lines, because sometimes you're driving so close to the car in front of you that you cannot see the lines.
Right.
So it wouldn't work. So what we implemented in the Q7 and the E4 is something that we call, it's a corridor, and the most probable corridor you should follow. And you have a lot of information getting into that. One of them, of course, is lines. When you see lines, take them. The other one is, what is the car in front of you doing? And actually, what is the first, the second, and the third car in front of you doing? Because the radars, they have the ability to look beneath the car. So you can see 2 or 3 cars in front of you. One more source of information is what are the cars right and left of you doing. So if you put all of it together, you have the most probable path you should follow. We want to take into consideration all these things that for you and me it's natural while you drive. You don't think about it, you just do it. And we want to take it into consideration in our logic, so that people, when they drive the car, they feel it feels like me driving. So every time you develop autonomous functionality or even driver assistance system, today is the same thing. You need to consider what are the critical hazards that can happen, and you need to manage both. And this is the safe package.
Other OEMs are coming out with their concepts of, the autonomous cabin. Can you tell us anything about maybe where Audi might be, what you might be thinking about?
Of course, the first times you drive that, it's amazing. The steering wheel is moving and the car is taking care and managing the situation. But of course, very soon you get bored. Technically, when we want the driver to take over, he needs to take over very fast.
Right.
So the whole thing about really changing seats and moving the interior to a next generation is about fully autonomous cars.
Right.
And we're still in the partially autonomous strategy, where we will have some scenarios that we can offer, but like in a traffic jam or on a highway for a specific period of time. And for that, we don't see a way, and we do not follow the strategy to turn the seat around.
Right.
But what we can do, as I said, is of course try to have big displays, try to have nice head-up displays, and of course trying to give some more space in front of the customer. One of the basic tasks we need to solve when we talk about piloted driving is to avoid what we call mode confusion. It's very critical if the customer thinks the pilot is on, but actually you are on manual driving, because eventually something will happen. So you need to make sure, although you have all these driver assistance systems and on the car, when the pilot is on, when the pilot is actually available on, and you want to take over request. So you need to consider also not only a way to show different infotainment activities and offer it to the customer, but also how do I integrate the whole mode situation in the car for the driver to make it safe in the end. It's all about making safe. Our vision about piloted driving in the end is not having robocars driving around and picking people up and dropping them off. I mean, of course, we're working on a pilot that where you can leave your car in front of the garage and the car will drive to the garage, look for a parking spot and come out, which I think it's a great value for the customer. I never found one that has some pleasure in driving into a garage. Yeah? We will have done our job very well in the end if that scenario comes up. You wake up in the morning and you say, look, my way to work, it's 15 minutes, but I'll take the longer one. I'll take the 1 hour route, because sitting in an Audi, it's my time.